TPE Network. Fun yet informative podcasts.
Hello and welcome to Mouse House Plus, brought to you by TPENetwork.com. I'm Hank.
And I'm Babyface John.
And we're your hosts, talking everything about Disney Plus. So obviously, we've done WandaVision. We did Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Next up on the block, John, is going to be the Loki series. So it was scheduled for June 11th, but now it's going to debut on Disney Plus on June 9th. Here's the problem for me and you, though. They're going to be releasing on Wednesdays. I thought just the initial one was going to be a Wednesday, and then going forward, it would go to Fridays. They said, no. These will all be on Wednesdays. I was like, no, how are we going to pull this off?
I mean, we could still do what we normally do, just have it on Sunday. That means that when it comes out on Monday and Tuesday, everyone gets to listen to us right before the next episode.
That's a long wait, though. That is a long wait. So we'll have to put our heads together off air and see what we can come up with, if we can switch anything around at all. But I was like, darn it, I hate that. But just 6 episodes. How do you feel about another 6-episode run?
I mean, if it's going to be hour-long episodes, then I'm okay with that. But if it's going to be 30 minutes or less, then no, I'm not okay with that. Because, I mean, there is so much that you could do with Loki, and I have a feeling that that's what they're going to try and do. And if you shortchange us on that, there's going to be a lot of upset people. Because that's the only reason why they're making the season or series is because of how popular Loki got. So if you didn't have main base hour-long episodes of Loki doing Loki things for everyone to be like, oh my gosh, Tom Hiddleston, woo! And then it's gonna be a flop. I mean, and that's not what they want. This is like one of their biggest things leading into the summer.
What do you think that they are gonna do episode-wise, honestly, in your opinion? Because you've only given the 2 dichotomy, but do you think that there's another option where it is going to be like Falcon and the Winter Soldier? This episode is 35 minutes. This episode's 57 minutes. This episode's 38 minutes. This episode's 47 minutes.
I mean, if they're doing it, no, I can't say that, because if you do over 30, that means that they're actually doing 20, because roughly, they're doing maybe at 30, because 10 minutes of that, if not more of it, is going to be credits and thank you. So, I mean, I'm really hoping it would be more than 40 minutes each one, so at least we get 40 minutes of showtime. If they end up doing a lot of back and forth, where they're doing a smaller volume versus a larger volume, I mean, if the story has a good ending spot and it makes sense, I'm down with that. But I mean, for example, and like this most recent episode of The Bad Batch that you and Alex are doing over on the Mandalorian fan podcast, this last episode, it was a filler getting them to where they're being, but could it have been connected to the last episode? I think it probably could have pretty easily.
Right.
But it's only a half an hour. So what's not even half an hour. What, it was like 23 minutes. So that means you might have come up with like a 45-minute episode with them just farting around in space trying to figure out what to do. So it's but at least they had an end. Although I'm not overly thrilled with how it ended. It was kind of like just a boring end. But that's what I'm getting at, is if you have like a proper end point where by doing it's a nice bookend for that episode, then I'm fine with it. And the thing is, if he's going to be jumping around different realities and different times, it could be like a Quantum Leap, where and if all the people who are listening to this have any idea what Quantum Leap is, the show that was out in the 80s and 90s about Scott Bakula traveling through time but jumping through other people's bodies to do it.
Yeah.
Anyway. So how the show would always end is he would jump into the next body, or whatever would be the next episode, and say, oh boy. And then that would be the end of the episode. So if they did something like that, if they did something like that and then said, oh boy,
you would go nuts. Yes. You make some good points there. I think they're so beholden to episode counts that it is almost damaging. Like we've got to hit 16 episodes or we got to hit 6 episodes. I almost think that is negatively impacting potentially the story.
Well, I mean, they can always look at it this way. If they're trying to count their pennies, then you come out with a series that could possibly have a continuation of the series, and then you see how popular that is, and then you turn around and throw more money and then more episodes to it. So in this case, they're like, okay, if we do 6 episodes and we can hammer out a story so wonderful that everyone is rewatching it, and then gives us a good reason for us to do longer ones. So I can, but if it's a dud or something that gets really weird and people just don't understand, then they won't, then they're like, okay, well, we only wasted money for exactly the 6 episodes. We didn't have to push it any further. So, I mean, money wise, I can understand. Story wise, of what the fans want, it's always more, but I can definitely understand where they're looking at the pros and cons. We do more episodes. We're more invested. We're able to get more storyline out. We're allowed to explain things, but we're spending a lot more money on everything. Or we do a standard 6 episodes, lock that in, make a story fit for 6 episodes, and then if it does good, then we'll continue on with a season 2. Now with Loki, I have no idea how that would happen, because since he's what are they calling him?
What?
He's not an anomaly. What is he? He's a
Time variant.
Yes, he's a time variant. Being he's a time variant, I don't know if they would just keep him around, because I have a feeling that as a time variant, if he wants to continue to live, he would have to continue to work for them.
Yes. And that brings me to the next part of this. They said that was the first series they had agreed to do a second season of.
Mhm.
I guess once they even started mapping it out, they were like, oh, yeah, this is good enough to do a second season.
Yeah, and that goes against what I just said, because I mean, everything that I just said makes sense when you're trying to toy with something. But they already knew they had gold whenever they brought Loki out on stage. The very first time that they mentioned that, when they brought Tom Hiddleston out on stage, everyone lost it, and they showed like the title sequence going into it. They knew they had hits. The reason why they already signed up for a second season like right away. So I don't know why they did 6 episodes for this, unless it's going to play into something else. I mean, who knows? Maybe, I think it seems as though everything is going to funnel into the multiverse of madness.
Yeah, I think that's going to happen. I do agree. Also, it's supposed to be part of Phase 4. Did you know that before now?
Now, Phase 4, I mean, is official as soon as Spider-Man. No way, no, not well him. What's the other one? Far from home. Sorry, I'm already gearing up for the new one. So anyway, as soon as Spider-Man Far From Home was over, every single thing else is considered Phase 4.
Okay.
So these shows are part of Phase 4. It's official that's what's going on.
Okay. Well, that should clue people into, potentially where things will head then. Here's a quote I have here. It says, I think it's the struggle with identity, who you are, who you want to be. I'm really drawn to characters who are fighting for control. Certainly, you can see that with Loki. Over the first 10 years of movies, he's out of control at pivotal parts of his life. He was adopted and everything, and that manifests itself through anger and spite towards his family. And that's Tom Hiddleston kind of diving deep into the character. And he also said that Kevin Feige has shown him the roadmap for Loki, and he's excited for the future of the character. What does that mean to you?
I mean, clearly it sounds like redemption arc or something where he ends up getting what he wants. So
Yep.
who knows? Maybe Loki variant will be the next Thanos for like, I don't know, Avengers 6 or 7 or something like that.
I was going the other direction and thinking maybe he's gonna be the next hero. He'll like come in and be a hero.
You know what? And I think that as long as they keep that anti-hero vibe going on, I think that you're absolutely right with that. I think that there's no excuse or reason why they wouldn't do that. And I mean, it's just, oh man, put them with like Deadpool.
Oh, don't give me hope. Stop it.
I mean, it would just be Ryan Reynolds just basically like, oh, could you do that again, please? Could you make them disappear, please?
Do the nice trick again as he's the one getting stabbed over and over and over again, thinking it's funny.
Yeah.
You'd be like, no, this ain't for kids. Do you want to move on to What If?
Oh, the What If series? Yes. Let's go
Yes.
ahead.
So allegedly still slated for summer, 10 episode count. I am pretty stoked because uh, some of the storylines that they said that they're going to do. What about you?
I absolutely love the What If series. Now, if you people who've been listening to this, if you've been listening for a long time, you're going to hear probably the exact same speech I had before. But the What If series were always something that I look forward to because it was basically the comic writers being like, "Hey, remember that dumb idea that we had, which would have just screwed everything up, down the road? Why don't we just do one comic book where we do that and just see how it turned out?" So it's like, and that's it. They're just sitting around saying, well, what if this happened? And then that's basically how they come up with the What If series. I mean, I had what if the Age of Apocalypse never ended? So it like continued on. Silver Surfer and Galactus show up to a destroyed like Earth, and like the the people or mutants or whatever that's left had to try and like fight off Galactus. Shoot, what were my other ones I had? I mean, that's the one that always stands out because that one had a different drawing style than all the rest of the comics at the time. It's actually something more of like how it is recently. But I mean, I know that they had stuff about the Phoenix. What if blah had the Phoenix power, which is kind of almost an irrelevant thing now because now they seem to be just dishing out the Phoenix power to anyone who can fight for it. But these things are great because they give you the ability to explore possibilities that would not make sense in a normal comic book line, or would end with something so tragic that would completely screw up everything down the road. Case in point, Marvel Zombies. So I mean, when you have Marvel Zombies, it's not like you're going to get everything that we have right now with a bunch of zombies. So I am excited about the What If series and cannot wait for it.
Excellent, man. And that is another one that they've already said too, that season 2 is in the works. And
Well,
I don't blame them.
And that's an easy one too, because then you're just getting voice actors to come in. And the thing is, since they've got all these people already like licensed for their movies, they can come in and just speak their own parts.
On the Mandalorian fan podcast, which we do, Alex and I were discussing that a lot of these actors, you're going to easily get them to do the voice acting because they don't have to get in some super tip top shape. They just lend their voice and they make bank.
Yep.
So I am all in on that. But the Mandalorian fan podcast, we're covering The Bad Batch. So make sure you head to tpenetwork.com/subscribe to join us for that. It's a lot of fun. But yeah, these stories that they've already mentioned that they're going to do, I'm all in. I cannot wait to recap those.
And same here, man.
And later in the year, allegedly, we're supposed to get Hawkeye, another 6-episode run. What do you think about Hawkeye?
I was really excited about Hawkeye when it was first announced because I mean that was one of the things that he wanted to have. He wanted to explore the character more since he got shafted in the first Avengers movie of being basically a mindless like drone. But they haven't really released much, and I feel that they should have. There should be more stuff out there, considering the fact that hasn't hit the Hawkeye series been going on for a lot longer as of late.
Yeah, they wrapped up and everything.
But it started filming first, and then it was like they filmed for longer than anybody else. It's just I feel that we would have seen a lot more stuff by now, and we haven't.
I think they had some. I hate to bring this up, but I think they had some issues. I think he had some personal issues. I don't know for sure, but that's what I had heard, and I don't know if that's what has kind of made this a little bit of a rocky production or whatever, but we'll see.
Yeah, but I mean, it's going to be another Disney Plus series, so I'm not going to be at all upset with it. It's just it's on the way, and I'll get more hyped up as it gets closer. But I mean, I've got enough stuff to be hyped up about right now. I got a Star Wars series, another Star Wars series, another Star Wars series. this current Marvel series, and then like at least 3 movies coming up this year, and then another Marvel series. So I'm good. So it'll build back up after I start running out of other Marvel series to watch.
Yeah, I think they started in 2018. I want to say they started putting that together. That's a
Yeah.
long time.
I remember that they had said that they were already working on his show, and then they like announced Loki's show coming up. So considering that we're about to see Loki and they're done wrapping and they're just now in post production for Hawkeye, then it's just weird. Just I'm curious. I think what you're saying is absolutely right. Something was going on, and it'd just be interesting to find out, why we had a hang up like that.
Also, do you think they're going to be overloaded at the back end of 2021 because you're going to have Book of Boba Fett, you'll have Hawkeye, you'll have the Spider-Man movie, correct?
Yes.
And then you're going to be gearing up for the next season of The Mandalorian will roll into the 2022. So do you think it's kind of too backloaded, or are you cool with that?
Well, I mean, I understand what they're doing. They're putting a lot of shows in close while people are going to be in their houses on their butts because you're in winter,
Yeah.
and yeah, you might be doing stuff outside, but it's not like summertime where you're going to be out. So that's the reason why normal production of TV shows like back in the day, like you would run out of like all the series in the summertime, it'd just be reruns. There wouldn't be anything new on because they knew that everyone is usually out doing stuff. So I mean, to me, that it makes sense. And then they'll probably be light during the summer, but who knows? Maybe they won't because they've got so many shows that they're cranking out that there'll just be another one. I mean, there's another like 10 like TV series that there's
they're kicking around. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's not gonna end,
which is good for us.
Yes, it is.
Good for business now. Come on now. And then speaking of that, I always forget to mention this on the podcast, but if you want to support Team TPE, you can head to tpenetwork.com and hit the donate button. You can donate via PayPal, Patreon. We have different tiers set up now. It's kind of poking fun at each of us. So it's kind of humorous. But we would appreciate your support for independent media creation. All right. Yeah, that brings us to Miss Marvel, which is supposed to premiere late 2021. I forgot about this. I don't think that's going to happen, to be honest with you.
Well, I saw the preliminary of like her and her outfit, and it looks really good. So yes. I mean, I'm excited for this, and I guess I have to look for a co-host because I know that you're not really excited about this.
I'm not a huge when they start doing the same name for another character, it kind of waters it down to me. It's like Falcon just could have remained Falcon to me. He doesn't have to take on the Captain America mantle. He could take the shield and just be America's new hero. I mean, and same with Miss Marvel.
Hey, per the Winter Soldier and Falcon had it the other way around. Falcon and Winter Soldier. His name is Black Falcon.
You're that kid from the street, aren't you? Yeah, that's you. All grown up.
So, yeah, but it's. I mean, I believe it's going to be okay, but they put that on the back end. So if something comes up where they're pushing too much, I could see them moving that to 2021 easily because it's not something that's demanding, but it's got to come out before they put out Miss Marvel 2 or Captain Marvel 2. Sorry, I shouldn't say it because it's Miss Marvel and Captain Marvel. Right. So Captain Marvel 2, the Marvels.
And allegedly our one of our favorites from WandaVision is also considered a Marvel. So
well, she takes the mantle in the comic book for a while. So yeah.
And there was a whole other Miss Marvel before Carol Danvers. That storyline's so convoluted. That's my only complaint about that.
Well, this might be Brie Larson's out because I don't know, clearly the animosity with her being Captain Marvel is still there with people. And I was reading articles where it said that, you know, she basically wanted to be the one in charge of the Avengers if they go in the next movies, which is not what they were really discussing. I heard that it was a possibility because it would make sense. But when she turns around and says, no, I want this, I know Disney's usually like, whoa, 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 whoa. You know, we've got a plan and that's not our plan.
Okay.
So, but she's also been kicking around, and this is diving into the Mandalorian podcast, kicking around trying to get the character of Mara Jade in the Star Wars universe. So,
wow.
and if those of you who do not know who Mara Jade is in the comic book series, she is actually Luke Skywalker's wife, who just so happened to have been the hand of the Emperor, which is a force-wielding person that is basically an assassin that does the specific work that the Emperor once done. So the Emperor's like, hey, this one person over in this far, you know, part of the galaxy, I want dead. And she's like, done. And she just leaves and goes and do it. So she has a lightsaber. If I'm not mistaken, I think her lightsaber is either pink or purple. And she has red hair, and she is she eventually becomes a great Jedi Master on her own. So that is something that was being I've seen an awful lot of chatter on as of late. And considering that they brought Thrawn into the real world, I don't know why they wouldn't want to bring Mara Jade, because that storyline was also good because of the fact that you're seeing a relationship spark between two force users that, you know, if in the old ways that would never have happened.
Right.
So, but anyway, I'm diving into Star Wars. And this isn't the Star Wars podcast, so we'll go back to it. But anyway, I feel that, you know, she's pressuring to do that, and since she already has her in with Disney, it's a lot easier for them to recognize her. So I have a feeling that after this Miss Marvel 2, she might be hanging it up, or at least putting herself on the back burner to only come out for movies.
Right.
So
pass the mantle to somebody, kind of, you know, just in case, and then circle back if she doesn't.
Well, it would be Ms. Marvel and Rambo. So that's the reason why I don't think that they have that big of a deal about calling her Ms. Marvel. The other thing too is that, you know, her uniform. So Ms. Marvel uniform with the lightning bolt on it. It was never used in the larger pattern like it was in the comic books. They're using that Kree uniform that she had, and even though that they've adjusted it to look more like the comic book series, so the only thing really right now is that you've got two characters that have the same color scheme going on, but not necessarily the same uniform, which was kind of what they did before. So there is going to be a way to separate them. What I want to know is if there's going to be a Squirrel Girl in the Miss Marvel series, because Squirrel Girl is one of my favorites, because I mean, she's nutty.
Not bad.
Hey, where's my drum roll, man?
Oh, I don't know. Let me see.
There we go.
A rim shot it up. That is funny.
So
not bad.
So yeah, I mean, I'm excited for this series because they're not doing anything wrong right now. They seem to be doing everything correct the way that people want to see it. Now, storylines might be weird, but like, you know, people want to see action with the Winter Soldier, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. People wanted to see, like, you know, how Wanda, you know, she could just basically break down and control people. And I mean, they get to that pretty easily, and it's a pretty you know, it helps explain, and it gets you to where they are in the comic books without having to pervert their, you know, just their abilities by saying, like, you come in the next movie and like, oh, look what Wanda could do now, right? Now she's a Scarlet Witch. When did that happen? So
right,
and that's good because it helps them progress all the storylines without having to throw out a big budget movie. Although the news for Captain America 4, and with Mackie playing Captain America through it, I mean, they're already starting to pull in all kinds of names, and they're like having a moment where they know they're going to be in Wakanda for a while. So like that, I mean, that's exciting in itself. I mean, look where this one series did. It took off and went to this. Now, we can't say that with Wanda because it was already known that she was going to end up in, you know, the
multi-madness or multiverse of madness.
Yeah, I was just trying to think of the Sorcerer Supreme,
Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange. But you know, with Loki, I'm not exactly sure where he would fit in, but I mean, they could easily do that if it's time.
Yes. Oh my gosh! And with the de-aging stuff, They could
Mhm.
do just about anything. Like they could redo any of the movies that you were like, I wish they would have done this, and then have him show up, and that's part of the movie where he shows up and they redo it differently or something, and you're like, wow, that was awesome.
Yeah.
Anything else that you want to talk about, John, before we wrap this on up?
Um, Besides the fact that it's nothing but exciting shows that are about to start rolling down the line. I don't have too much. I mean, I could probably do another podcast and just rambling. So we should probably end.
And those of you that do not follow TPE Network on YouTube or on Facebook, be sure to check those two out. Like us on Facebook, subscribe on YouTube. I live stream every Thursday, and this Thursday, guess who's going to be joining me? You guessed it, John. John will be joining me. So make sure you join us 6 p.m. Eastern time every Thursday. It's just like a casual conversation typically. So we'll be probably talking, action figures and all kinds of stuff. So it'll be fun.
I mean, 2 weeks ago, I called in. You're doing the ghost one with
Yeah.
Alex, and I mean, I finally got to tell that story, which I've been waiting to tell somebody now for such a long time.
That was excellent too. And Agent 14 told a story that was outstanding. Like, I don't know if I slept more than an hour at a time that night because I was freaked out.
Oh, I just need a UFO to fly over so I can have that experience too, and then I can just wrap that all up.
You'll have the trifecta.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that is going to do it for this edition of Mouse House Plus. John and I are going to be back. We're going to try to be back weekly. Some things came up the last couple of weeks, but we'll just try to come in, chime in, and keep the conversation going. So if you want to send in feedback, tpenetwork.com/feedback. But
Yeah, if you all hear something out there that it's probably be brought to our attention, or it's like some good snippet of news, I mean, yeah, please send it in. Honestly, that's how I ended up right here doing exactly that.
Yeah, this is true.
Mm-hmm.
For John, I'm Hank. Until the next time, we are signing off.
See you, everybody.
TPE Network. There ain't nothing else like it.